Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Lean Green Dad, and it is 2018, which means it's season 2 of Lean Green Dad Radio, and we are so glad to have you join us. We're here on Facebook Live, which means that we have a guest with us that is obviously live. They're coming to us from a different part of the world, and you can see them to the side of me. We have two amazing guests, both men that have helped, keep us not only safe, but given us the fight for the freedom that we have today. And so to start off by introducing Thor and Hoop, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your service. You are amazing. Multiple years of service. Thank you.
Our privilege. Thanks. Thanks for having us on.
So these two gentlemen have done amazing things and are going to be doing more amazing things. Let's start with you, Hoop. So Otis Hooper, aka Hoop. That is your call sign from the Air Force, and talk to me about your journey. Right, you've gone all the way from dad bod to, as I like to say, oh my God. Right, from dad bod to oh my God, and I feel like this transformation that you've made is truly inspiring. I mean, all joking aside, congratulations on this journey. What was the thing that motivated you to say, hey, you know what? I need to get in shape. There's something not right here.
Well, really, it was just looking in the mirror and being honest with myself. It was, sometimes it's easy to kind of just say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll get to it. But when I looked at my kids and my kids kind of looked at me and we had that man-to-man, father-to-son moment, I took a moment to look in the mirror myself and say, what am I doing that can actually elevate where I'm at health-wise and my kids as well. So it was kind of about a week or two moment that I had, and then pairing with my buddy Joel Thor here, and really just kind of elevating and doing not only the mental piece, but also the physical side.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about the mental piece, I mean, Thor, you have been through, and Joel Neeb is his name, but Thor, you've taken on the Ironman. We're part of that Ironman brotherhood together. And, what people don't talk about very much is that mental part of the Ironman, right? I mean, anybody can go train on a bike and anybody can swim, but the mental part of that race, and specifically for me, it was the last 12 miles of the 112-mile bike where I just broke down crying. I was talking to my grandpa, who's no longer with us. I'm just sitting there just trying to get through this thing. How important is that mental sport? That mental part of the sport?
It's so important, and I really think that's really what we do it for, right? At the end of the day, like you said, we can train our bodies to do amazing things, and it's not enough to just cross that finish line and say that our bodies were capable of doing this. I remember when I was getting ready for the Ironman, everybody was saying, hey, you're going to crush it, you're going to do so well, good luck, except for one person, and this one person wrote me, and he said, I hope you suffer. It's like, wow. That's bold. What do you mean by that? And he's an MMA fighter. I'll give you the background on him. He's an incredible MMA fighter. He's been very successful, a headliner. And he said, I hope you suffer. I'm so jealous of what you're about to undergo. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I live for that moment when I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep going. Like, I train my 2 years before a fight for that second when I'm being choked out, and I got to decide, can I find it within me to keep going, or am I going to wake up on the mat in a few seconds? And I'll never forget, I hit that moment. I was going up the hill the third time on a bike, and my feet are going like this, and you could walk faster than I was moving up the hill. It's so steep. I'm in the lowest, the gear to make that happen. And I remember thinking, yep, I'm suffering. Here it is. But I had a smile on my face because that's what I was paying for. That's that moment where I had to find it inside me and mentally overcome that obstacle.
And you want to talk about adversity. I mean, Joel, you've been through it all, man. Your story is incredible too. I mean, not only running Afterburner, of course, but your fight with cancer. Can you talk about the similarities there? I mean, there's got to be some similarities between that Ironman race and your battle against cancer, right?
Yeah, that's an insightful comment because the battle with cancer hit me out of the blue. It was 2010. I was feeling fantastic. I was a fighter pilot. I was on top of my game. I was being looked at for the Thunderbirds, which are like the Navy's Blue Angels, except it's better. Of course. And,
of course.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm in the middle of this, and then out of left field, I find out I have stage 4 cancer, about a 15% chance to live 5 years, and probably they gave me about 18 months of time frame to start packing things up and expect things to go badly at that point. And so I had to find it within me to keep going. And I didn't know how that was going to turn out, but I'll tell you, I did learn through that experience that it is the mental fortitude that gets people through it. You can't mentally decide that you're going to beat cancer and overcome it, but you can certainly mentally give up. And I did see people make that decision during treatment and during the cancer battle, and that always ended poorly. And so there is a will to fight that makes a difference in an Ironman or in cancer battle.
Well, like I said, I'm just so inspired, man. I just absolutely incredible. And you guys continue to do great things. We're going to be talking about that big hurdle/mountain that you're going to be climbing pretty soon. But before we do that, let's go back to Hoop real quick. So Hoop, there's this video of you out there on YouTube that has you doing the American Ninja Warrior thing, right? You're doing your thing. And I saw it for a couple minutes, and it's like you made it past the one part, and then the rope, I got a little scared, the rope part. But then you ended up falling in the water. You lost your leg footing, and then you just kind of fell into the water there. But you still came out smiling and flexing. And,
right. Always flexing. You gotta always flex.
yeah. You gotta. You had the cameras right on you, so you knew what you were doing. That was good. But what's the next step? Because I think you're getting ready for another run at this thing, right? Is that right?
That's right. Actually, the Ninja Warrior thing happened again because of my kids, but that was just a small piece of the puzzle. What Thor just talked about with his Ironman, his battle with cancer and then battling the Ironman inspired me to train for an Ironman. That's what I was actually training for while the Ninja Warrior thing came up. So the Ninja Warrior competition was 2 weeks prior to my Ironman. So I didn't train at all for the
stop. Don't even tell me that. That's so brutal.
Except for the Wednesday before. So the Wednesday before, I went to a ninja gym and played around in there for about an hour. And I realized, man, I am in trouble.
Yeah, that is not, you're in for a world of pain if you have not.
Now, I had the power and the endurance, but what I did not have was the technique. And there was a lot of technique that goes overlooked when you're watching the videos on TV. So this time, I said, I want to give this another shot, and I want to train right. So I am training this time specifically for Ninja Warrior, and hopefully I'll have a better run at it this time. And I'm bringing somebody. Hopefully, I can bring somebody along with me.
Yeah. Hey, absolutely. Joel, can he convince you to do another one?
Yeah, well, not an Ironman because I've checked that square, but I'm definitely going to go try the American Ninja Warrior with him. And while I probably won't get as long of a bio as he got and the explanation for his story, I'm going to try to stick around on the course a little bit longer than he did. We're both going to crush it this year, so we're looking forward to it. Nice. And
Art Eddie, one of my friends, just came on and said, you have a great story. It's so interesting. Thanks for your comment, Art. And then we have Tina, who said, say hi from Atlanta. So we got Tina tuning in and watching us. So, hey, Tina. So, okay, American Ninja Warrior. Now, we talked about Ironman. So I didn't know that, Hoop. So you actually completed it, but you were in like a world of hurt after.
For the Ironman?
Yeah, you did the Ironman. You completed it?
I completed an Ironman
2 weeks later, 2 weeks after that.
2 weeks after the Ninja Warrior. So I did Ninja Warrior April 8th, and then April 22nd, I did an Ironman and completed an Ironman.
How'd you feel after compared to Thor?
He will tell you that he did it in an hour faster than me. But I felt great. I was still smiling, and I flexed all the way across the finish line. So that's what got
Brilliant.
It was great, but, so the Ninja Warrior, Olympia, Ironman, it's been great. But what's really exciting is being able to take the next step with my buddy Joel here. And like you mentioned earlier, we're gonna try to climb Mount Kilimanjaro here in July this year. So that's really exciting, and we were able to do it together this time. So we're really looking forward to that journey.
Unbelievable. I can't believe
that we compete against each other and we verbally spar and have fun. We know each other for 25 years, but no one inspires me more than this guy. And it's so fun to have this type of relationship where we can challenge each other to up our game. And he crushed me in the physique contest he did, went out to do Mr. Olympia and did phenomenal things in just a year of training. I mean, literally went into the elite athlete status in no time into the stratosphere. And it's fun watching and then partaking in some of these things together as a team.
Well, guys, as you continue to go on this journey, you've got 17 years in the Air Force. Hoop, Thor, I don't know how long were you in the Air Force?
So I was in the Air Force for 15 years, and then I made the leap out right after I got the okay from the doctors for the cancer battle that things were looking on the up.
Right on. And the bodybuilding competition, Hoop, we didn't really talk about that very much. You said Mr. Olympia, but I don't think everybody understands. So you went from normal dad to Mr. Olympia. How was that? I mean, you want to talk about, I'm sorry, American Ninja Warrior is one thing, right? To get your body ready for that. But bodybuilding is like a whole different thing. You got Ironman, you got American Ninja Warrior, and you got bodybuilder. These are three completely different things. And I don't think people understand, like, you can get your body in shape. You can have a couple muscles here and there. But when you're going into a bodybuilding competition, there's a science to it, right?
Absolutely.
You can bulk up and you can get all those muscles, but then you got to shred it all off. You got to basically, I mean, come on, let's be real here. You got to starve yourself like the day of the competition. You're practically starving. You're going to pass out because you got no carbs in your system, right?
Actually, that's a little bit of a misnomer, but it was an absolute, complete, transformational journey for me. It was never about the competitions. So when I started my, I guess, bodybuilding journey, February 13th of 2015, I honestly just wanted to get in better shape. That was my only goal. Just like most of your viewers out there, hey, I just want to eat better, get a little bit of definition, and get ready for the summer so I can look good on the beach with my kids. Yep. That was my only goal. That was it. And when the difference was I got together with an Air Force Academy buddy of ours, Rob Giles, and he developed a plan for my life that was specific around my life, my goals, and what I wanted to achieve. And it was food and workout. And what I did was I applied that plan with incredible discipline. And I stayed disciplined. I stayed on the track, and my body started to respond incredibly fast. So in about 2 months, my body started changing really fast. And then he dangled a goal out there. And that goal was, hey, you ought to consider competing in a men's physique contest. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, dude, I'm not getting on stage in a bikini. That is not happening.
And you can wear board shorts, I heard, right? You can wear board shorts.
You wear board shorts, like swimming trunks. You get on stage, seconds, front, back. And so I just didn't want to embarrass myself. I was 40 years old. I'm competing with these 20-year-olds, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I went all in on the training and my diet. And I won. I won the competition. I won my age division. I won the whole thing. It was really exciting and fun, and I decided to do another one 2 months later. That one I didn't win. It was a national competition, and I came in almost last place. But I learned something in that point from the time that I won to the time that I came in last place. And it was exciting to me because, like you said, it is a science. It's a science on building your body up, shredding down, but not losing the muscle, dropping the fat. So I ended up being about 200 pounds and 3% body fat for almost a year. And I was able to really learn my body well. And I did a couple more competitions. I turned pro in the IFBB, and then I won my first pro show, and that qualified me to compete in Mr. Olympia. So in 2016, I went to the Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition, and I was top 40 physiques in the world. So I went from dad bod to Mr. Olympia body in one year.
Unbelievable. Let's talk more about that food. You mentioned that food. So what exactly did you eat? What was the plan? Here we do a lot of plant-based stuff here. Obviously, I'm vegan, so that's my vibe. But what did you do? Did you focus on a lot of macros? Did you focus on everything? I know that your buddy helped you put together the plan, but what did it look like?
Here's the interesting thing, Corey, is that I honestly couldn't even tell you what a macro is. And for me, it's a balance of protein, carbs, and vegetables. And I allowed my buddy to be the expert at that. All he did was build a plan, and I followed it. And of course, I've learned what it is, but it's really, I was weighing my food. I was religious with weighing my food. And actually, Thor and I shared the same diet because we have the same blood type. So our bodies digest food differently when you have different blood type. So that was something I didn't realize. I changed my cardio up. So I started doing fasted cardio on an empty stomach in the morning. I was working out way too hard. My heart rate was going way too fast. So I had to slow my heart rate down to burn fat versus burning into my muscle. So there's a lot of little techniques that I hadn't even considered. But what I did was I just gave control to my friend, and I trusted him, and I put my trust in him, and I had weekly check-ins with him, and from there we continued to iterate and get better and better.
Now, what are you going to do for the Ironman, though? I mean, you got major cardio that you're doing for hours on end. I mean, you're going to lose a little bit of muscle, right?
Later. Yeah. So I did the Ironman 6 months after the Olympia. After the Olympia.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah. So I had the muscle and the strength already, and that was the challenge for me. Was everybody said, "Well, you don't have the endurance." Okay, well I'll go do what's the toughest race out there, an Ironman. So I actually learned some of my techniques from Joel, and I asked him, "Hey, is it possible to train for an Ironman without ever having any triathlon experience? Because I've never done a triathlon at all."
Yeah.
So neither did he. Neither one of us had done any triathlon
marathon,
experience.
Triathlon,
Nothing.
Me too. Same thing. We have that in common, man. The first marathon I ran was during the Ironman.
Yeah. So we jumped right in. I said, "Is it possible?" And he said, "Yes. With your work ethic and your discipline and the way we train, it is possible." So I was able to, having the understanding of my diet and my body, I was able to keep my weight at 201 to 203 the entire time of training. And I stayed within 2 pounds of 200 pounds the entire time. And that time when you see me flex on camera in the Ninja Warrior, 2 weeks later I did an Ironman at that weight.
That's unbelievable. Was the water hard for you? I mean, were you? That's where I struggled. Look, I threw up 6 times in the ocean. 6 times, dude. It's because I was swallowing too much salt water.
Yeah.
And it just my body rejected it. So I knew it, like mentally I was fine. I'm like, okay, I'm barfing. That's because I've drank too much salt water. It's all good. And I'm not even joking. You know how you go out, like folks, if you don't know about the Ironman, so it's a 2.4 mile swim. Is that what it is? 2.1?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2.4, you go out for 1.2 and then you come back and then you have to go back again. It's like straight out and back. And when I came back, I saw multiple grown men crying in the sand. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm going back in the water. And the second I stepped in the water, start swimming, I go sideways and I barf. It was just like that.
Wow.
And, it happened 5 more times. Then I feel bad for the people behind me swimming in my barf. But.
Well, I can totally relate to that. So Thor explained how he was, he felt that suffering stage, and what was the bike or the run?
Well, so real fast on that story for the water, you described it well, but for me, someone said it's like a washing machine, and that really captured it, because you're in the water with 1,000 of your closest friends, and you move a little bit to the right, you bump into the person next to you, you say, oh, whoops, and go to the left, you hit the other person, you slow down, you hit the person behind you, you're getting elbows in the face, and so if you're super claustrophobic, you're in the water, it's all churning and boiling, and so you're seeing bubbles all over the place. If you are not prepared for that moment, that's the stuff of nightmares, right?
Oh,
yeah. And so
it absolutely is.
But we said that was I told him I helped him mentally prepare for that as well. So that really got me too, and it's something you got to anticipate. And I'll let you tell your story. Your experience.
Yeah. So as he said that, I hope you suffer. One of his friends told him that. So I called him the night prior. I had never practiced in open water. I'd only practiced in a pool. So I'm going in thinking, wow, I'm a Mr. Olympia guy. I've trained for 6 months. I'm ready to go. And I got in the water for the practice swim, and it was black. I couldn't see anything, and it freaked me out. And so I hit my wall literally in the first 5 minutes of the Ironman. So I mentally struggled big time. 3,000 people were around me getting kicked, punched. So what I did was I turned around backwards, and I just treaded water for 19 minutes. In the first 5 minutes. And I had to slow my breathing down because I couldn't even put my face in the water to breathe. I slowed my breathing down, and I mentally told myself, move forward. Progress. Focus on progress. And so after about 19, 20 minutes, I was able to calm down and breathe. I remember what he said, you're going to suffer, push through it. And so my goal was to get to the first buoy. And the first buoy was 100 yards. And so as I passed the first buoy, I felt good. I didn't drown. So I said, get to the second buoy. So I kept swimming to the second buoy. After the second buoy, I actually passed somebody. So I felt good. I wasn't the last guy in the water. And And then from there, I picked up my pacing, and I was able to get back on a normal pace, and I finished in about, I don't know, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes total swim. But that was my moment where I was suffering and hit my wall. And I knew once I got out of the water, I was good to go.
Unbelievable. Wow, guys. I mean, you don't really understand how tough it is until you go through it. And, now you could have swam in open water and you could have prepped yourself for open water, but it's still not the same. I mean, was it ocean water or lake water? What was it?
It was lake water. And the reason I didn't practice in open water is because I trained during the winter
in Minnesota.
So it was freezing cold. Everything was frozen. So I had no choice. And the only thing I had was to do it on game day.
The first step.
I'll throw it in there too, because we were both traveling all the time when we did our Ironman. So I did one outdoor ride on a bike. I got to run outside like 3 or 4 times during my training for 6 months prior. It was all done on sweaty, nasty hotel bikes, and we travel for a living, and so you have to make do. I think that's an important point. If you can't let those logistics stand in your way, and you can still figure out a way to get across those obstacles and make your fitness goals happen, even if you are on a career path that's ambitious.
Unbelievable. Well, what's next, guys? I mean, you talked about Kilimanjaro. You got that coming up. I think May. When is that?
July. Yep, July 4th is when we're actually going out there. I can't wait for that one. We were hearing some horror stories about that from some friends that had climbed it, and they said people are being taken down and coughing up blood and having issues with acclimatizing to the altitude up there close to 20,000 feet. And I've certainly been in my cockpit up at 20,000 feet and dropped my mask before and just said, hey, how long can I breathe at this point? And, you test your body out and you see that very quickly the color starts to leave your vision. And you start
a
little too euphoric. And fortunately, I can just pull my mask back up when I'm flying in a fighter plane, and that's taking place. But we won't have that luxury this summer.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? What's the plan? Like, how are you going to have oxygen tanks with you just in case?
So yes, we'll have backup plans for sure. We'll have contingencies, but we're also going to acclimatize, and that's part of the training that we're preparing for right now. Is we go up to altitude and we slowly get our bodies used to that. And we both lived at 7,000 feet and went to college there at the Air Force Academy, and you get used to it. It's funny how we'd exercise at that altitude and not notice a thing. But then when you go away for a couple of weeks and come back, your body adjusts along the way. So there are definitely some tips and techniques to be able to get up to 20,000 feet, and that's how they get up to even as high as Everest for the spring.
Amazing. Guys, where can we find more information? We got to be able to tap into what Afterburner's all about and be able to follow you. Give us all your Twitter handles, and I know, Joel, you have your own show, so let's plug that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the Business Thorecast that we've been promoting for the past year, and I sit down with business leaders and from across the globe, every industry, as well as special elite team members from the military. So folks like Hoop, fighter pilots, Navy SEALs, astronauts, and we talk about how do you create an elite team and how do you take these skills from the gauntlet on the trial by fire that comes through in the military and apply those to create teams that go after something ambitious and exciting in the corporate world. And once again, it's called the Business Thorecast. You can find me at Instagram at Joel Thor Neeb, and also find me on LinkedIn with the same handle, Joel Thor Neeb. I answer all my emails. I get a ton of requests to talk about cancer, to talk about Ironman, and I was just talking to somebody last night with stage 4 cancer. I'm more than happy to have those conversations and how I got through it. And if you want to know my tips, techniques, and how many times I juice vegetables, and what it took to get through the hard nights, I absolutely willing to have this conversation. So reach out to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Thor. What's next? What's next for you, Hoop?
Well, it's kind of along the same lines. I'm on my main social media platform is actually Instagram, and my handle is Team Hooper 6. I'm also on Twitter, Team Hooper 6. But I've started to really share most of my daily life on there, and it's really generated a lot of excitement and questions. So how did I go from the the dad bod to the Mr. Olympia, from one challenge to the next? And that's really what drives me, is challenging myself mentally, physically, and then also aligning my family. I have 4 boys. Joel has 3 kids as well. So we bring our families along on the adventure, and that's what keeps pushing me to keep challenging myself, because my kids are always asking me, all right, Dad, what's next? And so when your kids are looking at you hoping and wanting to do the next thing, you gotta live up to that. So I've got to keep myself in shape, not only mentally but also physically as well.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to make sure to include everything in the show notes. And obviously, you can visit the website, leangreendad.com, of course, and you can find all the links there as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Again, thank you for your service. Keep on doing amazing things, guys.
Thanks so much for having us on. Appreciate it.